Good Sunday, everyone. My name is Dina Wachtel, and I'm Vice President for Community Affairs at Canadian Friends of Hebrew University. I want to thank you all for joining us today for this presentation titled After the Fire, Strategic Shifts in the Middle East Post-Israel-Iran War. We have participants turning in from across Canada and a few friends overseas. So wherever you are, we truly appreciate your presence and engagement. Over the past year, Israel's air and missiles defense systems have been stress tested by attacks on multiple fronts: rockets, ballistic and cruise missiles, and long-range drones launched by Iran's network of proxies from a variety of arenas. In the recent war with Iran, the front line was quite literally above in the sky. When Israelis were vulnerable in their own homes, it raises a profound question. Are we entering a fundamentally new era in the nature of warfare in the Middle East? To help us better understand this, we have invited Brigadier General, retired Zvika Haimovich, former commander of the Israel Air Defense Forces. During his tenure, he oversaw the integration of Israel's multi-layered defense shield, Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow systems, and that during a period of rapid technological and doctrinal evolution. General Haimovich has extensive experience developing strategy, policy, and operational plans for joint, combined, and inter-agency missions. He has led large, complex organizations, managed major transitions, and built teams across the Israeli Air Force. During his distinguished service, he held key positions, including commander of the command field in the IAF Air Defense School, head of training and doctrine in the IAF Air Defense Division, commander of the Active Defense Wing and the Sky Defense Wing. Today, he continues to advise on strategic and technological responses to this new era of warfare. In a recent interview, he said, "The war with Iran has entered a tense intermediate phase, a ceasefire without resolution, a sensitive lull with a looming risk of renewed conflict." We are honored to welcome General Haimovich to share with us today some of his knowledge and analysis of the current situation. He will speak for about 25 minutes. After his remarks, we'll move to your questions. Please feel free to post them in the Q&A box at any point during the talk. General Haimovich, joining us from Israel in this late hour. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dina, and the Canadian Friends of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. They're celebrating this year 100 years for the establishment. It's a great honor. Thank you for the kindly introduction. I'll try to take you in short journey in our region, in the main milestones in almost the last 2 years. I'll try to focus on what we called the last 12 days war last June between Israel and Iran. But the context is a little broader than talking directly about the 12 days war between Israel and Iran. Of course, we will touch it, but please allow me a few slides about the environment, about the situation, and try to well connect it to the 12 days war. Actually, Iran has been building proxies of terrorist organizations in the region for decades, more than two decades. You can see here Gaza, of course, the Hamas and the other Islamic groups. You can see very clear on the map. Does it look from the ground perspective? Hezbollah in Iran, Iranian militant proxies in Syria, Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, of course, Iran itself. They spend billions of dollars, sponsor them, equipment, weapon system, knowledge, and Iran was kind of the backyard of all this organization. And almost for 2 years, with huge difference for the intensity, they all have been active. All of this, in most of the time, most of the cases, well coordinated and synchronized. Of course, it's all was by Iran. Iran was the head, and all these proxies was the ends that play in the region. This situation we started on October 7th morning. The situation. It was very clear that Iran fully involved, but they try and they succeed almost 6 months to keep themselves out of the table until April 14th. What happened in April 14th? Israel took down a few of the Iranian leaders in Damascus. It was a building near the Iranian embassy. For them, it was a trigger to took themselves to the war directly to Israel. And April 14, you can see by yourself the numbers behind that event. But in April, a barrier was crossed from the first time for a direct kinetic conflict between Iran and Israel. Till this time, the proxies played, the threats played, but from April 14, it was the first time that Iran directly react against Israel with a huge volume of attack, simultaneously attack. You can see the numbers. It was a massive attack, around 170 UAVs, more than 120 long-range missiles, and 30 cruise missiles. Almost more than 300 different types of elements that flew directly, well coordinated to the state of Israel. And it was a reaction by act that Israel did in Damascus, of course, against Iranian very clear target, but it wasn't in Iran territory. But it was very clear for us that once they crossed this milestone in April, the second time will be much faster and much powerful. And it was really like that. Less than 6 months after, it was October 1st. This time, the reaction was a direct reaction when we took down Ania, one of the Hamas leaders in Tehran. So it was very clear that Iran will act. For us in Israel, the leaders, the cabinet leaders, the military leaders, it was very clear. There was no question remark that Iran will act. And we saw the react. We spoke a minute before about the reaction in April, and during October, we saw a different action by Iran, only 200 missiles in two waves, very close to each other. So in less than hour, 200 long-range missiles, 1,500 kilometer flew from Iran to Tel Aviv. So we are talking about 6 months between April and October that Iran moved from a passive position to active position. From that time, October last year, October 24, it was very clear that we are on war between Israel and Iran. It's a new war. It's not a war that you see your enemy. You are talking about enemy in 1,500, 2,000 kilometer from you, acting a lot of proxies around you. But we all knew that it's all about Iran and it's about time that the situation will shift, and from fighting against the Hezbollah, Hamas, and the other jihad groups, it will be a direct war against Iran, and it was exactly like that. And during June, Israel was the trigger to the situation that I'm talking about. It was well planned from a long time, I would say many years. That all the services, all the military services worked about brilliant plan with excellent intelligence, and we started a surprise strike air attack or air campaign. It was June 13, simultaneously three waves that attack three main targets. The first target, the nuclear scientists in Tehran, nine of them. The plan was 10. So the last one reached 48 hours, and we took him 2 days after the D-Day. So that was the first target. The second target, the first nuclear assets in Iran, and the third target was very important target, that were all the long-range missile in western Iran. You can see in the map, western Iran, it's the closest part to Israel, and they build all that huge area to be the center of gravity for the long-range missiles. This is the short distance between Iran and Israel, so they put the majority of the long-range missile in this area, and the assumption was that they will react less than 2 hours when Israel will attack Tehran. What does it mean? It means that all the missiles were ready on the launchers, on the silos, on the operational assets, and the Israeli Air Force attacked one by one and eliminated most of the reaction that Iran prepared to that time. That's the reason why Iran took 18 hours to send the first salvo to Israel. When we attacked them on the night between the 12th and the 13th, they sent the first salvo to Israel only 18 hours. The reason why it took so much time, because Israel on the first strike, the first attack, took down most of the missile that Iran prepared for that mission. And as I said before, we well prepared and planned that campaign, mainly air campaign. 90% of the campaign led by the Air Force. When I'm saying led by the Air Force, it means sending most of the Air Force capabilities 2,000 kilometers way and back, 3 or even 5 times a day. It's a flight by five hours. So try to imagine what does it mean. 12 intensity days, 3 to 5 times. Send most of your Air Force platform and capabilities from others from one side to other side. It was very intensity, 12 days. You can see by yourself the numbers behind that war. I think that emphasize very clear the situation and the volume that I'm talking about, and you can see the numbers behind the war. and I will translate the numbers, the main numbers. I'm talking almost about 550 missiles in less than 12 years, 12 days, that Iran launched to the state of Israel. If I'll take you again to the assumption that the cabinet and the military leaders took a day before announcement or decided to send that campaign away, the assumption was that the Iranian first reaction will be 500 missiles on the first salvo. And now I'm talking about 12 days of 500 missiles or so on. So uh, take in your mind why this number is so low, because the effectiveness of the air campaign that took down a lot of the missiles, the launchers, and all the missiles facilities that the Iranians prepared for many decades. So I'm talking about a bit less than 550 long-range missiles, 1,500 kilometer to 2,000 kilometer. It depends from where they launch. From Tehran, it's 2,000 kilometer. From the western part of Iran, it's 1,500 kilometer. Just to give you the idea, what does it mean that a missile fly from Iran to Israel? We're talking about 12 to 14 minutes the flight time. I'll talk in a while about the air defense system, and I'll describe more about the complex and complexity of how to make it happen. So that's about the missiles. More than 1,150 UAVs, a huge number. Only one UAV across the border and hit one of our towns. Only one among more than 1,000 UAVs. From these 550 missiles, we are talking about 63 missiles that we missed them. And from these 63, 36 heated targets. As you see here, it's one of the heated points or areas in Tel Aviv. You can see the damage. What does it mean that a warhead with 400 kilo hitting your place, hitting your land, hitting your people? This is the emphasize the damage that only one warhead can create. So we are talking about 36 among these 63 that unfortunately hit the target. There is no hermetic solution. There is no 100%, and I'll talk about it in a while. And of course, the most important number, last but not least, 29 people, civilian, lost their life in this war. Of course, the assumptions before the war, all the numbers that I just mentioned, they were triple, and even multi-triple than the numbers that we see. But the numbers, they are enough to understand and emphasize our intensity. We are talking about these 12 days of war. And one of the main key points that's made the huge difference between tragedy or successful was the air defense system. We built our very unique and sophisticated multi-tier concept for many decades. We started in the late 80s with the Aero project during the President Reagan administration, when he declared about the Star Wars project. It was imagine, it was a vision that you will intercept on the sky 100 kilometer above the land, and you will intercept. It's like to take a tennis ball, two tennis balls, 100 kilometers above your head, and you will accurate intercept or engage each other. So the dream from the late 80s became the reality in June 25. The compass from the first day that we started to build our multi-tier concept with all the Israeli system, the Arrow 2, the Arrow 3, the David Sling, the Iron Dome, the compass was Iran. Of course, during the years, we have a lot of campaigns, a lot of escalations, semi-wars with Lebanon, with others, but the compass always, the projector was Iran. And it was very clear that it's about time that we will take all of our capabilities, all the concept that we built for decades, and we will focus on Iran. The picture that you can see on the right, the painter, it's the reality. It's a real salvo from Iran to Israel last June. If you will see carefully, focus on the picture, you will see more than 50 different missiles came from up, down, and the air defense interceptors came from left to up, from down to up. This is the reality. This is the reality that the air defense mechanism, the air defense concept mechanism deal with during these 12 days. They're talking about almost 90% of success interception. You saw before the numbers that we missed, and in this mission we were not alone. We are very proud that is under the umbrella of the Israel Air Force and the IDF as well, shoulder to shoulder with our air defense forces, soldiers and commanders, set the American leaders, commanders, and warriors. They share together the same stations in the BMC, in the battle management commands on the field themselves, under the same policy, the same interception policy, the same operational orders that the chief of the IDF and the IAF took down with zero question, with full commitment. All the US capabilities, they are in Israel. The THAAD batteries, they are on the ground in Israel. The Aegis BMD ships on the Mediterranean Sea. Some other elements, satellites, and other on the region itself, and they are still deployed on the state of Israel. I think it emphasizes the commitment between the state of Israel, between the forces, between the persons, between the warriors, Israel and the United States. I can tell you that they take almost a quarter of the missiles that Iran sent. They took by the American capabilities and system. It's a lot, and it emphasizes what does it mean, the cooperation, the collaboration between US and Israel. 25% of the missiles took by the Americans forces, the Americans capabilities that deployed in Israel and in the region. And it's a huge success. Of course, we always need to fill the gap to be much better than before. But thanks to our technology, our people, our collaboration with United States, we are talking about that minimum damage that I mentioned before. I think that after almost 2 years of a war, there is a potential and opportunity for change in the Middle East. It will not come easily. It's not waiting for us around the corner, but there is a huge, huge change around the state of Israel. We can see the new regime in Syria after the Assad era. We can see the situation in Lebanon after the war with Hezbollah, after many, many years a new government and president in Lebanon. It's a huge message to the region all. Where we can see the beginning of the change in Iran, but it's never done. I'm not sure that we are not close for another round with Iran, but Iran suffering today a lot from sanctions. They are still suffering from the 12 days war with Israel that we created a lot of damage to the nuclear facilities, to the military facilities. We took down all the military leaders. Of course, they took new guys to the positions, but took down a full tier of well knowledge and experience of leaders. It means a lot. It will take a time to rebuild the forces, to rebuild the capabilities, to rebuild the skills. So maybe it potential with Iran, but the days will say about it. And last but not least, it's the situation in Gaza. It looks like a dead end. Once we're talking about our 50 people that are still under the Hamas and the Jihad ends in Gaza, but I think that the situation, the security, the military situation in Gaza today, almost 2 years after the October 7th, it's totally different. I'm not sure that we're close to the end of the war. It's very complicated, the situation, mainly negotiation between Israel through US and Qatar to Hamas, how to solve mainly the hostages issue. That's today it's the main issue. But if we will take all that puzzle together with the main forefront, four keys that we are dealing with them today simultaneously, I can see more potential for changes than 2 years ago. It's never done. We need to stay together, shake the hands with our allies, uh, bring all of our efforts and forces together because we still need to fight about our liberty, about our freedom, to protect our borders, to protect our people and our land. It's unfortunately it's never done. It's a change the time, change the enemies, change the directions. But I think that we started almost 2 years ago um, a war with one of the most bad and critical situation. I think that we changed the situation. It's not a 180 degree change, but we close to make it. Uh, I'll close
Thank
my short presentation.
Thank you very much. And we want to jump right into the question that we received in advance. And so, first of all, to our offensive capabilities in the sky, someone was asking about the how soon do you see laser-based air defense becoming meaningful part of Israel's operational toolkit?
It's a great question. I think it's a lot on the news, mainly in Israel, about the laser capabilities. I think that we are close to achieve the initial operational capabilities at the end of this year. It will bring us for really a new era. It's something new. It's a different method of weapon system. We are all talking about prices. We are talking about the calculation of the interceptions, if it's enough or not enough. So the laser will bring you to a new era. First of all, it will be much cheaper than the other interceptors. if I'll give you just a few numbers to have the better understanding about the differences between both of them. Missiles, for example, Arrow missiles will cost us $2 million. The THAAD missiles almost $3 million. The David Sling a bit less than $1 million. So one shot of a laser, it's a few dozens of dollars, and the launcher of the laser, it's no limited. Depends the power. Once you have power, you have full interceptions. There is no zero time or zero launcher with missiles. Of course, the first day with the laser will not be like 10 days from today. It's evolution in revolution. It will take time to reach and cross a milestone with the laser. We will start with the low tier capabilities and targets like drones, UAVs, mortars, etc. And I believe that down the years we will find the laser dealing with more sophisticated and heavy targets. It will be exactly like the Iron Dome. Iron Dome, we put them operationally on the ground in 2011. Today, less than 15 years, except the name Iron Dome, all the system is totally different. Why? Because we are in a race between us and the other side, and it give us the opportunity to keep and develop the system. And every time we take them one step up. And for example, during the 12 days war, the Iron Dome first time in the world intercepted a long-range missile from Iran. 15 years ago, it was a dream. We started with the Iron Dome. That Iron Dome focused on target short-range targets up to 70 kilometers, 45 miles, and now I'm talking about 1,200 miles. So in a bit more than 10 years, it will be the same process with the laser. I believe. I do believe that it will be like that.
Can you tell us what is the difference in capabilities between solid fuel-based missiles and liquid-based? And was Israel surprised by the quantities of solid-based missiles that Iran launched at Israel?
Yeah, there are two main, as you mentioned, there are two main type of missiles that the Iranian used. The difference is the preparation time that you need to prepare your missile. For a solid oil, you don't need the time. You deploy your launcher, ready with the missile and ready to fire. In the other group of the missiles, you need 2 to 4 hours. Of course, in these 2 to 4 hours, this is a lot of time, for example, for the Air Force to hunt these targets before they will launch. So most of the, I would not say most, but 50% of the Iranian missiles, they're divided for 50-50, the groups of the solid and the other missiles. But the main difference between both of them, the preparation time to be ready to fire. And
What are
we
the chan-
the second part of your question, I didn't see any surprises by the Iran. It doesn't mean that they are not keeping a few surprises in the pocket. But if we are talking about June, the 12 days war that we are talking about, from what we saw, I didn't see any surprises that the Iranian brought to the field that we didn't know before. But again, I emphasize it again, it doesn't mean that they are not keeping in their own pocket a few surprises for the second round or maybe even later.
So in that vein, what lessons do you think Iran learned about Israel's missile defense capabilities, and what do you think we should expect in their next moves?
If you remember, I described it very fast, but it was very important how we moved from April to October to June. There are three milestones that we saw that in each one of them, the Iranian took a different method. Why did they do that? Because they took the lesson from one event to the second event, from the third event, from the second event. They are focusing on a big salvos to a minimum places to create a maximum damage. That was one of the main lesson learned that they took from April and October. And they saw it. They sent 550 missiles, and 10% of them hit the targets in Israel. They knew that not all the 547 will hit the state of Israel, but they knew and they know that a massive salvo, it's a big challenge to the system. They know exactly as I know and you know that there is no hermetic and 100% solution. So as much as they will send from Iran to Israel, they will try to bring a few of them to the target. Secondly, about the Air Force capabilities, I think that they understand today that the fact that the Israeli Air Force can fly above Tehran and Iran very easily with no really any effective reaction by the Iranian air defense forces or the Iranian Air Force itself, it means that they will try to find other ways to survive their own missile capabilities. Maybe underground capabilities, maybe some other launcher sites than they used before. But they understand that the Israeli Air Force opened our eyes above Iran and Tehran and all the rest of Iran. So it means that they cannot hide any of their own capabilities. So they will try to find another and new ways to disappear from the Air Force capabilities, UAVs, jets, etc.
Can you address how much damage was done to the nuclear program?
I'm not sure that even the US and the Israeli agencies, intelligence agencies, know exactly. I think that every day that we are focusing on the situation and we are focusing on the results and we are collecting the information, the human, the SIGINT, the other information will help us to accurate exactly our assessment. There is no questions about the damage. The question is how big is the damage. It means that we took Iran back in the nuclear project. For that reason, we put our power simultaneously on three main pillars. First of all, about the people, the person, to kill the knowledge. Secondly, about the labs line production. And last but not least, about the 9 nuclear facilities that we all know the names: Isfahan, Natanz, Fordow, and others. So we work simultaneously about these three pillars to be sure that once we will end this game, this war, the situation in Iran will take them back. Now the question is, how we push them back? A year, 2 years? So I'm not sure that it depends on who is the speaker. If you ask the President Trump, we destroy them. We will ask the Israeli leaders. We created a huge damage, but we need still to assess exactly if it's a year, 2 years, or more, but there is no questions that Iran today is in a different situation than before the June 12th this year.
And do you know, Iranian, are they acquiring the fifth generation Chinese fighters? It's Edward Litvin is asking this.
I saw a lot of articles about Iran. We took down more than 83 air defense batteries in Iran, most of them Russian stuff, and we know that they try to rebuild and renew the capabilities. And of course, who is the market from the Iranian? North Korea, China, and Russia. Russia today fully involved in their own war, and the other side, North Korea and China, they are available to supply a new equipment to Iran. So I think that Iran try with all this direction to have immediate supply, immediate new weapons. But even if they will get a new weapon, it will take time. First of all, to ship it, and then to train the people, and then to deployment, and then to operate them. So it's not a day a decision, a day after it's operationally work. It's a process. That process give us not a lot of time, but I think it's enough time to have exactly the assessment and the understanding about which system that we're talking, what are the capabilities, the performance, the skills, the deployment, and then prevent or try to prevent that from operational phase. So there are a lot of news that came from Iran in the last few weeks that they are looking for new markets for new systems. As I know, no one of that idea became practically operationally on the ground, but it might be absolutely.
Thank you. As someone who once commanded the air defense forces, what moment or decision in the last campaign stands out the most to you, the most, and why?
Ah, it's a great question. First of all, I wish to be in that position back to back to June. As I said before, Iran was the compass for all of us. For more than 3 decades, we all prepared, trained, and put all of our efforts and knowledge to be ready for that moment. And even for me, a few years after I retired, to see all that system, all that concept, all that method working, not in a PowerPoint, not in a commercial clip, working operationally. And you saw only one picture of the one of the big salvos from Iran, of the 50 missiles from Iran, and it wasn't a simulation, it wasn't exercise, it was the reality. And see the results. I think that why in one of my interview in the last few weeks, somebody asked me, what is your feeling when you saw that picture, that news? I told him it's like a proud daddy that sent his son to the first grade on the first day. This is the feeling. This is the feeling that you're proud that this is your soldier, this is your capabilities, this is the legacy that you built for many years and decades, and it is working. It's protecting your land, protecting your people, saving life. So this is the great moment that we all spend our time, lives, yeah, money, you name it, for that moment.
So, if you had one message to deliver to the next generation of Israeli defense leaders, what would it be in light of this new phase of confrontation with Iran?
A very clear message. I didn't change my message when I was the commander. Every day, it's a day less to be ready for the next time. We don't have the privilege to sit and wait. We are in a race. This is a race between us and the other sides. Of course, Iran leading the other side, but there are more than Iran. It's a race. And in this race, we need to be one step before the others. The only way to be one step before the others is not wasting the time. Take the opportunity, take the time, take the lesson learned, improve your skills, improve your people, improve your technology, improve your system, and be ready for the next time. It might be tomorrow, next week, next month, who knows? This is my only clear message to the next generation that's sitting today on the positions.
So we have two final questions. One is why is Iran evicting Afghanistanis saying they are spying for Israel?
Iran today try to use all the balls in the basket, and they are in a crucial moment on one hand after the war between Israel and United States that took part on the last phase of that war. Each one of the side, as you said on the beginning of this session, that we are in a very flexible time, a ceasefire with no agreement. So it's a tricky time. So each one of the sides, Israel, U.S., Iran, try to have a better position and to improve the situation and the position before the next step. It might be negotiation or it might be another escalation. So each one using all the balls. Some of them they are fake, some of them they are real. So Iran today we push them to the corner and they are trying to use whatever they can. This is my only smart answer that I try to deal with that.
From your inside perspective, this is our last question today. What's the one thing that you wish more people outside of Israel understand about the stakes of this confrontation with Iran?
I try to share with you my insights to understand that it's not only numbers. Behind the numbers, you will find people. Behind this intensity scenario, you will find a state that try to exist, that try to protect the borders and protect the people. No one all over the world living in this kind of crazy neighborhood surrounded by huge enemies, terror organization, and states. It is very intensity. If I will put together the last 2 years, more than 25,000 rockets, missiles from a few miles up to 100 miles flew from all these seven directions to the state of Israel. And if we want to stay strong and survive in our region, we must be stronger than before. There is no other way. There is no place for weak players in our region. And we need to keep our advantages, to be always one step before our enemies. There is no other way to survive in our region. It means the Middle East. If you will be weak, you will not be exist. And I think this is lesson learned number one from October 7th till now. And to be strong enough, we need the cooperation, the collaboration with our great allies, because part of the business is a global business. So the problem or the challenge with Iran, it's not only Israel problem. Of course, this is Israeli direct problem. There is no question or remark. But the Iranian regime and the Iranian two ambitious projects, the nuclear and the 5,000 kilometer, 300 and 500 miles long range missiles, threat not only Israel, threat most of Europe and most of the American US assets on the region. Iran with nuclear capabilities is a threat for the Western world, not only to state of Israel. But we don't have the privilege to sit and wait that the rest of the world will take care about it. But I wish that after that 12 days war, the rest of the world will not sit on the fence. They will take side. They will take our side to eliminate and prevent any nuclear and long-range missile capabilities from Iran from today to the rest of our life.
Thank you.
Eh,
Thank you very much, General Haimovich, for sharing
Thank
with
you.
us your deep insight and experience. Really appreciated. You've helped us understand better the Israel's multi-front defense reality and the strategic choices that lie ahead of us. We're truly grateful for your time. On behalf
Thank
of all of
you.
us at Canadian Friends of Hebrew University, we continue to pray for the release of the hostages held in Gaza and for a lasting end to the conflict. I'd also like to thank my colleague, Ayala Davis, who supported us behind the scenes with today's Zoom logistics. Thank you
We
all.
need,
Enjoy the rest
Dina,
of your
we
Sunday.
need, we need your support, and we appreciate your support. It's very helpful and it needed for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night in
Good
Israel.
night. Thank you. Bye bye.